Hey team, how you going? Welcome back. I found my Lakers hat. I'm pretty happy. I am going to do a video on a video based on a post I saw from one of my local senators who has a senator's seat in Parliament here in Australia. She's one of my local representatives for the northwest coast of Tasmania. I'm not going to delve into who it is. I'm not going to call her out or anything. I don't want to do that. Because I actually believe in some of the stuff she stands for. But what I want to talk about is that the post was regarding coercive manipulation. Alright, coercive control, coercive. Now, it's based on a domestic violence issue where she was telling a story that she had a friend that went through, it was a story that went through and basically it talks about how her friend's male partner, he seemed really nice and all that sort of stuff, but he wasn't violent, but he used coercive manipulation to control her friend, not the person at the centre. Okay, let's get that, her friend, or I don't know, it could be another person's story, I don't know. All I know is that she posted the story and it got my brain ticking over. Now, it's all good and well to stand up against coercive manipulation. Under Australian legislation, under the Terrorism Act, or the Terrorism or terrorist legislation, coercion is actually a form of terrorism. It comes under that. I will get that information and I will put it in the videos in a minute, after I do it, obviously, after I upload and stuff. So I'll go and grab the source of information about the Terrorist Act and the legislation that surrounds that. But what they want to do is, what I can gather from the post is, they want to create a new legislation for and they want to criminalize coercion or coercive manipulation, which is fine by me. Great, which is outstanding, to be honest. It's actually fucking good, because no one should be coerced to do anything that they don't feel like they have to do. Okay, this guy is going to go that way. Give me 2 seconds. I just got a lot of traffic going on here. This is a really dangerous spot. So that's great. No one should be manipulated or felt bad or do something. And what he did to her was that in the story he took the battery out of the car so that he could control her. Okay, coercive control, right? Manipulation, all that sort of stuff, right? So that's what he did, and I guess from this senator's point of view, is what she wants to do is bring into a legislation where it criminalises that specific activity done by the perpetrator. So whether it's male or female, if you are found guilty, obviously you're charged, all right, and you serve either a suspended sentence or jail time or whatever it may be. Okay, it basically it creates more against abuse of power. All right. So, but what do I want to do? All right. What I wanted to say on that post, and I didn't say it, but I'm going to say it because I copied and pasted it, because I'm going to go back to it later and say it, because I don't like leaving things unsaid. All right. So my point of view is, right, okay, so if you're a senator or a politician, and that's the sort of shit you want to stand up against, right? Right, that's great, that's awesome, because you should, all right? Because at the end of the day, no one should have to be coerced to do things or feel like they're being manipulated or any of that shit, okay? No one, whether they're in a relationship with someone or whether it's the people and the government, all right? So over here in Australia, all right, you've got Qantas, who have stated that if you don't have a COVID vaccination, you won't be allowed to fly on international flights. Now, they've stated that. I don't know if they've retracted that yet. I'll have to go and check that out. But they stated it. Now, that's a form of coercion, coercive manipulation, because if you want to use their service, and that flight that you need to get on that only goes to, say, I don't know, Israel, or it only goes to Hong Kong, or it only goes to Russia, that particular flight, you have to catch that flight to get to the next connecting flight, right? If that's the only flight available and you haven't been vaccinated and you've got to go for whatever reason, all right, you've got to be vaccinated. Now that's coercive manipulation. That's the very thing that the senator is fighting against, for domestic violence and people in that. So how about if you're going to fight it at that level, it's going to start at the top. All right, you can't have your government, right, or big corporations using coercive tactics to get people to do what you want them to do, but then you can't stand there and say that you don't agree with it when you agree with people being vaccinated and not forcibly vaccinated. I'm not talking about being held down and being forced. I'm talking about being manipulated and coerced in doing it. Okay, so right, another coercive tactic that the government's doing, all right, is what they're saying is that they're going to give the power to the people who own the businesses. All right, I own a business, right? So it's in my power to be able to say, all right, well, you're fired because you don't have a COVID vaccine. That's not fair on that person. They're a healthy person. I own a fucking gym. I own a studio. I own a personal training business. The person that's working for me obviously takes care of themselves and is a healthy adult, all right? The chances of them dying from COVID is fucking, it's like, what is it, 0.2%, whatever it is, right? We'll go 0.1%. We'll go with 1%, all right? We'll just round it off, okay? I'm pretty sure it's 0.2, all right, or 0.3 or some shit, all right, from memory. So if you're gonna implement a legislative act, or you want to push for that act to be brought in, or you want to bring in a bill to talk about that, let's talk about it at the top level first, right? Because if you want to eliminate the average Joe from using coercive tactics to in an abusive relationship and basically underline that into abusive relationships and into domestic violence, right? Because that's probably where it'll go. It'll probably go into the domestic violence part of the legislation of the law, right? So that then the police, that's where the police go to find, right, okay, he's done it, right, or she's done it. So if you want the average Joe to be punished for coercive tactics, right, you can't use the same coercive tactics on the people. The government can't do that because it's a form of terrorism as well, all right? Coercion is a form of terrorism, okay? All right? It is going to bring harm to the public or put public at risk. Rah-de-rah-de-rah. I'll put that in the comments in the info, all right? I've got to go. I'm going to go and have lunch, but that's the video. The video is if you're a senator, a parliamentarian, a fucking politician, and then you're a front bencher, a back bencher, wherever you may sit on the bench in Parliament House, whether it's at state level or federal level, you can't want to bring something in and then also contradict yourself and go with what your leaders or the party that you align yourself with, all right? Even if you're an independent party representative, you've got your own party, but you align with, say, the Liberals, or you align with the Labor, right? And you want to bring in something, but then at the federal level, all right, these guys are saying the total opposite, which contradicts what you're trying to stand for. You can't do that. You've got to fight the whole lot at the same time. You've got to say, right, coercive tactics and manipulation and abuse, we've got to stamp it out. Right, let's start at the top of the food chain, and let's start with the Prime Minister. Right, Mr. Prime Minister, what you're doing and what you're saying and what you want to implement is a coercive tactic. We already do it. It's called the no jab, no play rule, right? So if you receive Centrelink benefits, right, which is Social Security for those out there in America and in any other country, if you receive Social Security benefits and you've got kids and they don't have the jab, right, which is all their vaccinations. I'm pro-vaccinating, by the way, but I'm also pro-choice, okay? And the current COVID vaccine hasn't been around long enough for me to say, yes, I'll take it, all right? At the moment, it's a hard no, all right? Especially with, people dropping dead from it. We got the no jab, and that's the Prime Minister who did that. The Prime Minister, before he became Prime Minister, put that in the legislation. So what happens is, and it's only like a couple of bucks that you get. I think it's $30 a fortnight. How do you pay if you don't have your kids vaccinated? I think. So, but you're being coerced. That's a coercion tactic, because if you have no jab, no play, right, or no jab, no pay, right, that's coercion, right? So we've already been coerced to make sure all our kids are vaccinated, right? That's fine, isn't it? But hang on a minute. If the average Joe is using that tactic, well, let's criminalise him for it, right? I'm against violence against women. I'm against domestic violence. I'm against all that shit. But you can't implement that shit to the average Joe and then let the top dogs get away with it. That's my video. I've said my piece. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you again. And yeah, share, like, follow, all that stuff. Enjoy.